Welcome to Crushgasm, the podcast dedicated to the highs and lows of crushes. From their first to their worst, we're going to cover them all with a cascade of characters, including our guest today, a woman who loves a good bath, Laryssa Birdseye, a singer, meditation nerd, and nature-loving animal mother who is here to talk not only about her latest single, Porcelain, but also a couple of small screen crushes that keep her eyes watching TV, the tabloid king of Saturday Night Live, Pete Davidson, and the star of Cinemax's Warrior, Andrew Koji. Laryssa, how are you?
I am doing super well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. So I'm going to set the scene because the year was 2018 and many were still trying to cope with Thanos snapping half the world to dust in that Avengers movie. And then here came that news of Ariana Grande, pop princess, pop queen, pop icon. You can call her anything, any one of those. She was dating Pete Davidson. He was just some guy on SNL. And a month later, they were engaged. And it was around that time you say that he kind of started to pique your interest?
Oh, I was just like, what is happening? You know, because I love Ariana Grande. Like, she's just got such a fabulous voice. I think she's so good at what she does. She's just the tiniest person of all time. Like, huge fan of her. And I loved Mac Miller. And I remember when they broke up, you just like consume pop culture kind of peripherally, and I don't know, it was kind of interesting for me. And then I don't know, it was such a thing for her to be with this like weirdo Saturday Night Live kind of person. And then I kind of like binged their relationship a bit.
So you had like no idea who he was outside of SNL in this relationship?
Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, I remember like the SNL sketches about him that he was in. I was like, oh, he's kind of cute. He actually looks a lot like my first boyfriend, who I don't like. So that was kind of interesting for me. I was just like, oh, you look a lot like that guy that was just terrible. But I don't know. It was really doing it for me on some level.
Were there any like unresolved feelings for that ex that maybe you saw in Pete Davidson and you're like, well, at least like with Pete Davidson, he's a celebrity, he's over there, I can crush safely?
Maybe that was it. Maybe I was like, well, you know, like fuck this guy, but like, yeah, okay, maybe the other one. Yeah.
Well, you're not alone in this crush, because I think when he did start to date Ariana Grande, all these like people came out of like the woods that were like, oh yeah, Pete Davidson, that's the hottest guy on earth. And yeah. I mean, for me, not doing it, but was like, actually nearly like a fascination with like how he managed to score Ariana Grande, or was there any physical attraction? Like, what was it for you?
I think it was like the fact that he was funny. Like, he just seems like he would have been really fun to hang out with. Of course, there's a fascination about how he was able to get Ariana Grande. Like, I think it was just that he is funny. I think he probably made her laugh. And there's also like a darkness to him, obviously, like his borderline personality disorder. Not that that's like dark, but he definitely, you know, has his shit. And I'm just, you know, I always like a guy with a good dose of mental illness to him.
Well, I was gonna say, if you said looks, like, to me, I've said this many a time, he looks like one of those cockroaches from Men in Black, like how his body is like very lengthy, kind of hunchbacky, because he's always like like doing a joke. So
yeah,
everybody's got a type, but that's just like my little brother, he is also shaped like that.
Oh, really? Oh my God, that's so funny.
6'3", weighs about 115. Like,
so you're probably like, no, that is actually just my family here.
Yeah, because his baby mama is actually very tiny, like Ariana Grande. So when they were dating, Ariana and Pete, I told him, I was like, you guys should go like Halloween, like as that couple. He didn't think it was funny.
That's funny. Yeah. Oh my God.
You just mentioned like Pete's like mental health and like other things that he's said, his depression. Like, he can be a lot to some. And we also hear it often, like a lot of women or people in general, they're attracted to people they can maybe fix in a way. Like, you're like, oh,
that's
you're so good. Would you say that's part of this crush?
I honestly, that's a huge, I think that's probably a huge part of it. You know, I'm like 30 years old and I should know better. I should really, really know better by now than to like keep being attracted to men that are like, oh, like you're a project. But I feel maybe that's why Ariana Grande went for him, you know? And then she was like, oh, you know, maybe not. But that's when I was like, maybe. Maybe for me though.
Ariana, like yourself, you both grew up like immersed in the creative arts, and I think maybe innately you guys go for the troubled artist. Could be.
Maybe. Yeah. I honestly, my relationships with artists have been so garbage, but they have been the best. Like the most passionate, like the most amount of drama. And the guys I've dated that have been like sort of normal or not in music or, you know, in acting or any of that, have just, you know, sort of bored me a bit. So I think that there is a little drama to men that are artists or performers.
Do you get more creative drive from those relationships than the normies?
I think so. I mean, I think so just because they're so testing, you know, like they're just the worst. So it brings more songs out of me. It's hard to write songs when you're like in a happy relationship. For me, it's hard to write songs when I'm in a happy relationship. And I feel like I want to fight, you know, I'm like, all right, well, can you do something fucked up? On some level, I'm just like waiting for it so I can write the song, which is not great for me, like on a personal level, but on an artistic level, like super solid.
Yeah, I think you have a point. Like some of the best, like I remember growing up, like The Used and New Found Glory. It's like when they were mad or not in relationships, the music was better. It's like, sorry for you guys that you're not happy, but the music, the content is great. And you're kind of like when they get married and stuff and it gets all lovey-dovey, I'm kind of like,
yeah,
that's not fun.
Yeah, no. I know it's funny how that goes. Like we love it when our artists are miserable, and then when they get happy, we're like, okay, I guess we'll do this. But there is something about like a very public unraveling that kind of, I don't know, makes for good music, makes for good art. And her breakup with Pete Davidson, I feel like, gave Ariana Grande one of her better albums.
Oh my God. I mean, all her relationships. Thank You Next, I think, is one of the greatest pop songs ever created.
I think so. Like, I think there were just so many bangers on the album that kind of came from that period of time. So really, as I was falling in love with, like, you know, the idea of Pete Davidson, I think really I just fell in love with Ariana Grande.
He was the gateway to Ariana Grande appreciation.
Yeah.
Might be a troubled artist, but maybe it's just like you have a thing for bad boys overall, because when we first started talking, you said that Spike from Buffy sort of laid the foundation for men that you'd come to find attractive later in life. They were unavailable, they were complete assholes. Anything about that crush on Spike play into Pete Davidson? Because I don't think he's like an asshole, but he's kind of a bad boy of SNL in a way.
Yeah, I would say so. I think that there is absolutely something to that. I don't think I've ever been really attracted to like kind of the prototypically handsome, kind of all-American looking men. I was just in Costa Rica, and this guy was just so handsome and, you know, tried to talk to me, and I was just like, you know what? Like, you don't look like you're sick, you know? Like, I'm not really into that. You look like you work out a lot. Like, you look like you have a really healthy relationship with your family. Like, it's not for me. It's just not for me. And, like, Pete Davidson looks like he's just, like, very, like, yeah, like, he looks like he's, like, a little ill. Like, just something's a bit wrong with him. Like, I guess with Buffy, like, I was never into Angel. I was just like, ew, why would you want that? And then Spike was just like, you know, like always trying to kind of murder her, and then sort of realized that he loved her later, and this relationship was never going to work out. And I think I love that sort of tension, you know, on some level. I always go for people that it doesn't make any sense to to date them.
And you also said that you'd like for Buffy to sing your song Fuckboy to Spike. Would you say Pete was a fuckboy, or is he just like a hopeless romantic who falls in love too fast?
I think he's a hopeless romantic that falls in love too fast. My hope for Pete Davidson is he hasn't become a fuckboy, because I think what he went through was probably so shitty to like break up with like your fiance on just such in a public way. Like, I feel like my breakups have been, I had a breakup that was super public and it was not great. And if it had been like national public, it would have been, I don't know what would have happened. So I think he kind of strikes me as someone that's, I don't know, I feel like he just like really fell for her. And then maybe now I'd be more attracted to him because he probably like is more of a fuckboy, maybe like a little more jaded, a little more bitter, probably sink a couple years into trying to fix that for him. And then he'd cheat on me,
I don't think he's ever cheated on anybody so far that I know of. But I do think he's with someone new already. I think he's had maybe 2 or 3 girlfriends since Ariana.
Yeah. I just remember like Larry David's daughter, Cassie David. He was dating her before Ariana Grande. And I think they were I know way too much about this. I just feel like this is probably the thing I'm just like an expert about that I shouldn't be an expert about. But they were on a break. So like Cassie and Pete were on a break, and then she basically found out with the rest of the world that they were in a relationship. So it was like super hard for her. I know.
That's fuckboy material right there.
That is absolute fuckboy material. Absolute fuck. So maybe he deserved it. Who knows?
But it's kind of hot. Maybe.
A bit. I do like, yeah. And I think just all of the, I don't know, him losing his dad, like there's just a lot of tragedy there to work with.
But on the other side of the spectrum is Andrew Koji from this show called Warriors. Now, was this crush a case of falling in love with a character and then going down that rabbit hole of researching the actor and falling in crush mode even harder, or did you like go to the actor first?
Oh my God, 1000%. Like the series, and then the rabbit hole of him as an actor and like him as a person, and just like, oh my God, he's just the most handsome. And just his character is best. There are just some characters that you're like, oh, cool. You don't exist, but I'm like 100% in love with you.
We all have those fictional crushes where we're like, no, they're real. They're real to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, if we could maybe just like go to 1880 in San Francisco to Chinatown, like we could be together.
Have you researched him as much as like you appear to know about Pete Davidson's life, or because he's in the tabloids as Pete?
Yeah, no, I think Andrew Koji has pretty much stayed out of the tabloids. He has like a pretty small, comparably social media following. He seems like a very normal, kind, lovely human being. So, and honestly, his character in the show Warrior is all of those things too. But there's also this sort of bad boy. There's a bad boy archetype to him. Absolutely. Like he's like this crazy kung fu artist. Like he just beats the absolute fuck out of everyone that comes into contact with him. So I think there's like a very strong, like hyper masculine element to him that I'm just like, absolutely. Like just slaughter a whole village, like just a whole mess of people. Super down.
Now, like, what makes him like the man of your dreams, as you said? Like, what's putting him on that pedestal to make him stand out above everybody else you're watching on TV right now? The accent, the body, the stunts, like, what's this guy doing?
It's like the face, it's the body, it's the stunts. It's like, he's actually British in real life, but he has like an American accent in the show. So I think I don't know. It's just like all of the things. Have you seen him? Like, have you seen him or pictures of him?
He's very handsome. Definitely better than Pete to me.
Yeah, no, like a lot more physically attractive and like definitely more so than Pete Davidson.
No hate to Pete. Yeah.
No hate to Pete. I mean, we're not Pete shaming here. We love Pete. If Pete Davidson ever listens to this, I think you're just lovely, just super lovely. Sorry for talking shit.
Now, you've admittedly slid into Andrew Koji's DMs. Were you like, hell, I gotta shoot my shot. Let me do this.
So I have very rarely done this. Like, it's not a frequent thing. But very, very frequently, I'm just very moved by someone's performance, or in Andrew Koji's case, I'm just I'm in love with you. So maybe I think it was around the time I got my vaccine, and so I was just fucked up that day, and I was just kind of feverish, and I binge watched the whole show, and I was we're in love. I'm just gonna message you, you don't know this yet. But in my vaccine fever, it would just be great, And so I just sent him this message that was I loved your work in Warrior. I really hope the show comes back. Also, you're very handsome. And of course he did not. I don't think he even read it. And even if he had read it, what are you gonna do? I get those messages sometimes, and I don't know. I heart react them, and I'm thanks, but I don't know.
You never know what could happen. I was just reading a BuzzFeed list about celebrities who married fans.
Really?
All of Hanson, I believe, met their wives at shows, at concerts.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel Backstreet Boys probably did the same thing.
Brian met his wife is actually in the As Long As You Love Me video, so they've been married a million years. Kevin was married in their height. I'm a huge Backstreet Boy fan.
Oh my god, yeah.
And Nick's wife, she didn't grow up liking them. She wasn't a fan. She's more into music he likes, which is metal music. Don't know where AJ met his, and Howie's is kind of basic, so I probably have just met her wherever at the grocery store. I don't know Howie's life. He's not my favorite.
Yeah, they all look super normal. I don't know why, but Backstreet Boys just kind of came up for me, and then I just went on a little, I went down a rabbit hole with them, and their wives all look like normal, nice people, not crazy sort of, intense supermodel kind of people, just attractive but normal looking moms.
Yeah, and Nick was my favorite growing up. So and then when he first got with his wife, the fans were kind of hating on her, but it was around the time they got a reality show, and I happened to binge it, and it made me love her more than I love him, because she was and my crush on him kind of dwindled because of the reality show, because I was he's a man child. She was literally having to take care of him, and I was oh my god. Yeah, in my head I was thank God 12-year-old me didn't get my dream come true and I married this man.
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's kind of the thing, is when you meet these people, sometimes they just don't measure up to your expectations. So I'm pretty sure that Pete Davidson would probably measure up to my expectations, but I don't know. I feel Andrew Koji might be pretty normal. I feel he might be too normal. I feel I would be a lot for him. I don't know. I just get that feeling based on his Instagram. He just seems very sincere and I don't know. I feel I kind of freak those type, that kind of man out a bit. It's why is she so angry? So maybe it wouldn't be meant to be.
Angry, would you say you're a overbearing, not overbearing, but you're a strong presence? Like that?
I would say so. I would say so. I think that, I think playing up elements of your persona as far as, who you are as a performer goes is what a lot of people do. So I feel I kind of take the spiciest aspects of me, the kind of, don't fuck with me kind of stuff. And that's what I put forward, sort of funny, sort of fierce, and pretty unapologetic. And I think that can kind of be a little intimidating to men. I just started talking to someone recently, and we, he knows me. He's known me kind of through more so through like what he's seen on my on my Instagram page, and he was like, oh, you're like really, like you're really kind and like sweet, and I had no idea, like I just kind of was terrified of you, and I was like, oh, good.
You should find yourself someone who likes anime, because I've interviewed a lot of people about their anime crushes, and all the guys like love that the women are like very, they're like the type A, they're the one that's dominating. I'm like, okay, so maybe the anime fans, maybe check out an anime con.
Maybe that would work. Maybe that would work for me. I definitely don't want to, I feel like I can't dominate, like I feel like I dominate most of the people that I come across, and like the dream is to find someone that can just like, that is like, no, like we're not, like no, like a very strong kind of presence of like, okay, oh, all right, well, maybe I can't quite dominate you. But it has to be like a healthy mix, not like a I'm gonna put you in your place kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Skip the anime cons.
Yeah.
What would you have done if he, like Andrew Koji, like DM'd you back?
Literally anything he wanted. Like I would have flown I don't even know if we could fly at that point, but I would have hopped on a plane or in my car.
You had that vaccine?
Or in a boat. I do have the vaccine. Yeah, I got that travel pass to Andrew Koji.
To get it too.
Yeah.
We were talking about Backstreet Boys actually, and I was thinking, have you ever thought about how insane it would be if like we had social media back in the 90s and the early 2000s, like the boy band craze of the 90s, like being able to like DM Justin Timberlake or Nick Carter? Do you ever think about that?
Oh my God. I mean, I would have been in everyone's DMs. I sort of feel like I want to DM Britney Spears. Like, I just want to be like, hey, babe, like, I'm so sorry. I know you won't read this, but like, I'm here for you. I don't know. Like, I just kind of, like if I was a kid, I would have absolutely. Because remember, like, the fan clubs, you could write the artist letters, and like you were assured that they would get to the artist, like. Did you ever write now those? People can just. I didn't write those. Who'd you write to? Do
you remember this like country boy band? They were like brothers. There was triplets, and then one older brother, the Moffats.
The Moffats. That sounds really familiar, but no.
They were, I want to, maybe Canadian. I don't know. They were like a little bit before. Maybe I was in 3rd or 4th grade, so Backstreet Boys hadn't like hit yet. But I was getting my Bop and my BB magazines for JTT and Devon Sawa. So I would see them and I was like, who is this? And then like I got their cassette at Kmart and I was like obsessed with the older brother, Scott Moffat. So, like, you can imagine I was this like little black girl in this little trailer town with my little country cassette.
That's so cute.
Like when we look up Caterpillar Crawl, it's the worst song ever.
But did you love it? Were you super down?
It was like my life. It was my life.
Oh my. Wait, I love that. Where did you grow up?
Like, it's called Cabazon, California. It's if you ever go to Coachella, like if you're driving there on the 10, it has those big dinosaurs from the Pee Wee Herman movie.
Oh my God, I think I've been there.
That's our claim to fame, and we have a casino and an outlet mall, and that's about it. Probably a lot of meth and a lot of drugs.
Well, the meth is everywhere. The meth has definitely gone everywhere.
Urban.
I feel like that's our like main export to the world. That's our main contribution is methamphetamines. Mm-hmm. Were they made in the US, do you think? Like, is that where meth started?
Probably some desert town where I'm from, like or like somewhere like I feel like Iowa, Ohio. I don't know. Those still methy, like Nebraska.
I feel like it was probably Nebraska. Let's just say it was Nebraska. I have only met one person from Nebraska, and I was kind of drunk, and I was like, "How did you do it?" He was like, "What?" I was like, "How did you live in Nebraska?" He was just like, I like Nebraska. And it was,
like,
I think we made out after that, so he wasn't too mad.
I don't think I know anybody from there. I probably couldn't even point to it on a map. I'm not good once you get to those states.
Yeah, it's like middle of it. I guess I can do the East Coast, I can do the South, and then you know how everyone gives Americans shit about geography? It's like, well, we don't even know what's going on here.
Yeah.
So like, really, you gotta give us a break. You gotta give us a break. We just don't care. We don't care. It's not that we don't care about you. We just don't care about anything.
Yeah, so you're not in the state we're in or a state we go to do things. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You don't exist in my city. You can literally just calm down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like my husband's from Ohio, and when we met in like 2017, like I thought Ohio was not, because he's like originally from Pennsylvania. It's like, oh, we moved to Ohio, and then they would talk about going back and forth and traveling to see family, and I'm thinking those are long trips. And then I looked at the map and I was like, those were not really that long because Ohio's not that far.
No, I went to school in Ohio for a little bit, and I remember thinking Pennsylvania was so far away. And that's why I was like in Ohio, I just never looked at the map. It's like, God, that's like so far away, because I was still mentally in Oregon,
Who knows what happens in the middle? Like once you leave like Colorado, who knows?
I mean, it's all Nebraska as far as I'm concerned. No shade to anyone from Nebraska. This is why Trump got elected, because all we do is talk shit.
They're like, it's not even about Trump. It's like they just want to be seen as like a state.
They're just like, please, just please, just some modicum of recognition. I'm like, yo, no.
Like we did. We gave you home of meth. Like,
yeah, didn't you make meth? Thank you.
That's gonna be their new state quarter.
Oh my God, just like a lab, just like a beaker of something.
So, meth and everything. Okay, so back to Pete.
Yeah.
So Pete is a crush, but Andrew is the dream. So I'd like to know what you imagine your life would be like if you got to be with Andrew Koji, and like the Spice Girls sang, and two became one. What would your life be like?
So if they were the same person, or if
you were with just Andrew
separately?
Just Pete.
Okay. That was with Andrew. Is it going to be Andrew Koji, or is it his character?
It's your fantasy. You choose.
Okay, so he's definitely both. He's definitely both in my fantasy, because he has the English accent, but then he also just somehow does all of the moves, just flips around and like attacks people, all the Irish people, just super into that. I feel like our life together would be so great. I feel like he'd be so attentive. I feel like he would be the kind of partner that just sort of wakes, you wake up and he's just, I know this sounds creepy, but he's just kind of like looking at you, just like adoringly, like, and then he's like, I don't know, this is I'm just like really getting into it.
You're painting that fan fiction real well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I feel like he'd probably be a really good dad for some reason. Like, I just think he has like strong dad energy, which is, at this point in my life, I'm like, all right, let's see how you are at being a father, because I got 5 years. To do this shit. Probably not. I feel like we can do this like well into our 40s.
My mom was 36 with her last one. So
nice. Fuck it, yeah. Or just make make someone else do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like Andrew Koji would support that. He would support that for me.
Warrior gets another season. There's more checks. He can afford a surrogate.
I know. I'm actually so happy that it's on for longer. I hope it like really, really blows up, and then he just makes the amount of money to provide me the life that I've grown accustomed to living, and we could just travel all the time, and I can wake up to him staring at me, which is, I know that sounds so weird, but I don't know why, I just really, really want it.
I think it's normal.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe not like all the time. Maybe not like oh, did you sleep, or is this how this is how I left you, so you're still here.
Like maybe once a week.
Like once a week. Maybe it's one of those things though where you get so over it in time.
Not when they're like beautiful though. Like if you got to wake up to like Orlando Bloom or someone like that just staring at you every day, you'd feel like, oh my God, I'm the most beautiful person in the world because this person's staring at me.
That's so true. That's so true. Orlando Bloom seems like such a nice partner to have.
I know. Katy Perry's lucky.
Yeah. She is. She seemed like she had a rough time, and now I feel like her life is kind of better.
Yeah, because she got laid off.
So.
William.
He fucking does. And we all wanted him. And she got him.
So. He was the ultimate crush, like one of the ultimate crushes of the 2000s.
Oh, absolutely. I was so into it. But also like on like a hate level too, because I was like, you're so attractive. Like, I need like a Pete Davidson. I need a Pete Davidson, not an Orlando Bloom.
Orlando Bloom, like get in an accident, maybe get a scar or something.
Yeah, like maybe lose a limb, like like level up the playing fields. You're just too good. Just too good. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like Andrew Koji would just be just super great, and like if there was like an intruder, he could just kick them a lot and sort of fuck them up. We wouldn't have to own a gun because he'd just be so quick. And that would be amazing and like very erotic for me, like just him beating the fuck out of whatever intruder comes, and then that's my man. That's him.
Well, now that we've talked about your erotic dreams, let's talk about your reality and what you have going on right now. Your latest single as of today, as we were talking, is Porcelain. It's not on your latest record, but it's like a standalone single. Was it a song that you thought about in recent months and you're like, this has to get out now?
Well, I basically last year, during the fucked up year we had, I was also going through this really just absolute fucking disaster of a not even relationship. It was just someone I couldn't stop seeing, and it was a situation, but we were also like friends. It was one of those things where like I had fallen for him and he has no feelings and is a sociopath, self-admittedly. And I don't know, it was not a good situation. I'm like highly emotional, and he was the ultimate sort of bad boy in that he has no emotions. So I just couldn't get away from it, and it's really been in the last several months that I've been like, oh fuck yeah. But really what happened was I wrote a million fucking songs about it, and Porcelain was one of those songs. So the plan for this year is just to kind of keep releasing the singles that I wrote in 2020 about this person. It seemed more manageable to me to release as singles than to do a full album. I think at the end of all the singles that I will end up doing, I'm gonna kind of put them all together, add a couple tracks to it, and release it as an album. And then it's just gonna be his first and last name, and I'm just gonna lambast him fucking publicly because fuck him forever.
Well, I feel you. I've had one of those before. It's the worst feeling, and you'll see them online, and then they don't talk to you, and you're like, you just came over and we had sex, and then you don't want to talk to me. What the hell? Like, oh my god.
Yeah, they're like inside you, and then they treat you like less than garbage, like less than human garbage. I have something I gotta show you. I wrote this song like early in the pandemic, and it's like I end up in clown makeup. I'm like, so there's this guy, I don't think he likes me. He treats me like I'm a garbage can. And then the chorus is like, oh, he loves me, and I'm just like in full clown makeup. And that was what it was for so long. But it is absolutely finished.
Good.
And now I feel like I'm like actually talking to people that are, kind, and it's weird and it's strange. And I feel like it's good. It's a good thing.
People,
they're not Andrew Koji, but whatever.
they can't be Andrew. But do you feel like each single you release is kind of allowing you to breathe a little more, like it's therapeutic, like you're releasing a part of him with each track you release?
I do, honestly. And when I released Wildfire, that was from a relationship that even though it was painful when it was done, like when it was super, super done, I just had no feelings about him, so I had anger. I was like super, super angry. But one second, there was a little call coming through, but I was like angry at the Wildfire guy. But with this person that I'm releasing all these singles about, I think in a lot of ways the situation was just so damaging because it happened during a time where we couldn't be around anyone. So he felt like the only person that I had, and he was just horrible for me. So I think that with every song I release, it's like this reminder. As I put it out, people respond to it, and they're like, "Oh fuck, like this meant something to me in this aspect," or like this connected me with this. That's really healing for me because it no longer becomes just about my experience. It's also like I've put words to something that unfortunately can be pretty universal, where people are like, yeah, this person didn't care about me either. And it's easier when you hear other people say that to be like, oh, it has nothing to do with you, than when it happens to you and you're like, oh, maybe there's something wrong with me. Like, why wouldn't this person that I slept with for 2 years have like any sort of feelings?
Yeah, it's just there's just horrible people out there, and it's unfortunate that there's that many that these songs can be universal.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. I feel like I like benefit of the doubt people. And again, this person was like, I was like, what's wrong with you? I gotta figure it out. Like, there's something wrong with you, but like, let me figure this out. And I think when you spend so much time that close to like that fire, you're gonna get fucking burns, and that's what happens. Sometimes you don't have to figure out like what's wrong with person. You just have to let them the fuck alone.
Mm-hmm. You don't feel that flame. Don't feel it.
Yeah, like sometimes just I don't know. I've had a really hard time not running full speed at red flags. I'm like, ooh, this seems like it's fun. And now I think I've had just the right level of trauma when it comes to this shit, where I'm like, oh no, like I see this, I know what this is, and you can literally just leave before it begins.
Well, it's good. You're learning, you're growing.
Yeah, it's good. It's definitely been a journey, but it is happening.
Now, I mentioned in the beginning, you do love a good bath. Are you still doing your bird bath performances on Instagram, where you sing in the tub for people that are like, she's crazy, what's she talking about bathtubs all the time?
We put it on hiatus for a little bit. We were having guests in the bathtub, and then we had like a second wave of lockdowns, and so we kind of thought it would be the better thing to kind of wait it out for a little while. But now and we also renovated our bathroom, so I think we're gonna bring it back pretty soon, just to see what happens, because it was really fun. I just was always in the bathtub, and I was just like, I should probably do something in here that maybe relates to music too.
Well, like your bird bath performances are coming back, and things are slowly starting to come back. I know there's a lot of tours being announced. I have friends that are just buying tickets up. They don't even know what they have tickets to. They're just buying anything that goes on sale. And I saw you played, I think you played recently. It was like April, wasn't it? Did you ever step?
Yeah.
How was that? Was that your first show back? Like,
it was my first kind of bigger show back. I'd been sort of playing pretty consistently through last year, just small gigs, on the coast, and I had a pretty consistent casino show that I was doing, because it's not federal land, so they have different regulations, which was pretty wild to walk into a room after like not seeing anyone and there being like 100 people, but it was fun. But this was like the first show that people I I knew got to come to, and it wasn't like a tiny little like, oh, we're doing this outdoors and everyone has to be 1,000,000 feet away from each other. But yeah, it felt different. A lot of people had been vaccinated. We were just having that conversation of like, how do you feel about this now? And it does feel like I don't personally have like any fear around any of this shit anymore. I'm just ready to play, ready to get back into it.
And I just went to the last taping of Conan O'Brien's late night show, and it was in a little theater called Largo, and you didn't have to wear your mask because it was a fully vaccinated crowd. But it was like tearing off the Band-Aid to like take it off and be like trustworthy. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
since being around people, even like that many at once, I was like, I got through it.
Oh my God. I was in the Delta terminal at LAX yesterday.
Oh my God.
And that was the first time where I was like, no, this sucks. And it wasn't even like the mask shit. I was just like, you are just so close to me, and I loved being away from all of you for this long.
I think
it's just a lot.
The 6 feet, just keep that in play.
I would like that, and that's something that I don't think anyone is really adhering to anymore. It's funny. I wonder how many like physical markings of the pandemic are gonna exist long after the regulations are in place. Like at airports, like the kind of like decals on the floor of like 6 feet, or like the signs that are like, there's just so much that it's a reminder of how fucking weird it got, It
was like it was like a movie living last year. It got so crazy. I'm glad we're like kind of getting past it, and COVID's still out there, but we're getting that's all we can do.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really fucking wild how much happened in such a short amount of time. And this year does seem I don't know, like I feel like we might all be a little traumatized. I have this like irrational fear that everyone's gonna get better without me, and I'm just gonna be weird forever, and I'm just gonna be like anxious and and just like strange. But
a little hermit, like no, I can't go out, guys. There's COVID out there. There's COVID.
There's COVID and like people, but it doesn't, I don't know, it seems like we're all kind of adjusting back a bit. I don't know,
we need like a big group therapy, big trauma. It was a lot.
I think we all need to do like a massive amount of mushrooms and just cry in a fucking field. I think that would be the best course of action.
That should be what we do as a country to unite us on 4th of July to free us of COVID.
Yeah, and then we all get sick with like a new virus.
Like, I can't help where you get your mushrooms from, but you gotta supply your own. But like, just go out.
It's just like some sort of like rat feces, and like then we're just completely fucked for another 2 years.
Well, hopefully not. Before we do all that on 4th of July, we get our mushrooms. Do you have any performances lined up this summer?
I am going to be flying out to New York in late July and early August, and playing some dates out there as well. So
in New York?
In New York.
I love New York.
I do too.
Other than our girl New York, I also love the city.
I love both. I love both quite a lot. So
he said,
yeah, but it sort of feels like shit is, at least as far as booking shows, that's definitely happening again. So hopefully people enjoy it more, as far as live music goes. I kind of feel like in Oregon, sometimes our show culture is like, people go to bars to drink, and when there's music there, they're like, okay, cool. But I don't know, I feel like in different states, people are like actually there to watch the music and like be there. So I hope that changes here.
Yeah, LA, it's like always industry people and they're just like there, and they're just standing there, and everybody just wants to look really cool, so no one really gets into it, and that can be like really annoying. So yeah, I hope like we've had a year plus, some of us would know shows. So I'm hoping there is like an appreciation more for live music moving forward.
I hope so. I hope that there's an appreciation for everything, but I do think like as human beings, we sort of get used to the new thing, and then we just kind of settle back into old patterns.
Yeah. Yeah, some people are like, nothing's gonna change after this. Nothing. I think it was Pat Oswalt said, nothing will change.
Jesus, that's like such a dark way to look at it, but I mean, he might not be wrong.
Yeah, he's like, humans are idiots. Nothing will change.
Well, some of us will change, and I guess that's the only thing that, that we have any control over is how we respond to this next little patch of life. I feel like I'm just more grateful for like simple things now,
Like what?
Oh, well, I don't know. Like I started meditating last year, like really, really deeply meditating. And I feel like it just kind of helps me connect to like, I don't know, just the present more, like going on walks and just kind of looking at the new, what was kind of happening in the season, like whether shit was dying or whether stuff was kind of growing out or, blossoming or blooming. And I just got really into kind of what was going on around me. And I think that I really hadn't been observing anything like that before. I think I was just kind of like going, like playing a lot, and I was just so busy, and I didn't take any time to do like sensory anything.
I think that, like a lot of people, it's like we were so go, and then we had like this complete halt, and it definitely like it let everybody slow down a bit and a little slowly. See that you don't have to be constantly on the go. You can take a moment and appreciate the now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see, because now I'm starting to get busier and like I'm meditating less and I'm stressed more. And I'm like,
Pat and Oswald.
Okay, well, maybe let's keep doing it. I know.
So
we'll see though. We'll see.
So you said you're releasing these singles, and then you're gonna drop his name. So is that all the new music we can expect in the coming months from this situation?
Yeah, and actually I have a 2-track EP, acoustic EP that I'm releasing on June 29th, which is an acoustic version of Porcelain, which is really beautiful. I did that at a place in Portland called the Hallowed Halls. The EP is called the Hallowed Halls Sessions, and I just have one of my friends, her name is Rain Ezra. She's a really, really talented artist. So she sang backup on it. I had my producer James Villa play keys. It's a really beautiful collection of songs. It's just 2 tracks, but one of them is honestly like one of my favorite songs I've written so far, and I think it's like one of the most beautiful things that I've done. So I'm super, super stoked on that.
It comes out the 29th of June.
Uh-huh.
So soon. So
I know.
Can you tell people where they can find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. So I'm just Laryssa Birdseye there. You can find me on Spotify, Laryssa Birdseye. If you're still into Facebook, you can follow me on Facebook. My website is www.laryssabirdseye.com. You can always send me an email if you're more of an emailing type person. But I'm mostly I'm super responsive on Instagram. So if you're into it, just
slide into
let me slide into my DMs. Andrew Koji me.
Well, Laryssa, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me about your small screen crushes. And everyone, you can find all of Laryssa's information below. And until next time, keep crushing it.